Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wagner when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging in moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine. Living Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wagner when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging in moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine in the Northwest wild.
Hey, good evening and welcome to Fish on Northwest. Wayne England, Tommy Donlin, back in studio.
We're back. We are back, baby.
Back together. We got Jerry sitting over on the wings. We got David Butternut is in the house this evening. Has stayed away for quite some time. Somehow we were able to get him to come back and hang out with us this evening and work on some stuff for us this afternoon. Fantastic. Thank you very much, David, for being here. How you been? Haven't seen you in 3 weeks.
It's been excellent. Been fishing, man.
Man, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Been kind of getting out and about between the two of us. We've covered the gamut, man.
The whole western United States, I would say, and then a little bit of the eastern seaboard as well.
A little bit of the eastern seaboard as well. So we have a ton of fishing to cover tonight. Yes, most of it is salmon because it is, as I like to say, salmon season. No matter where you're fishing, we're talking Chinook, Coho, and Sockeye. It all relates. It's all salmon. You get excited. This is a great time of year. This is like your warm-up for tuna season, right?
It is.
This is your warm-up for the All-Star game.
Yeah.
This is what it is for you, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So we have a ton of information to cover tonight. So glad you're joining us. We are live. This is our weekly Thursday night live show here at 6 p.m. Thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to bringing you a ton of content this evening. And I want to remind everybody that Fish on Northwest is presented by Better Homes and Gardens, Pacific Commons Real Estate, located in Puyallup, Washington. And of course, our good buddies out there at Defiance Marine, Bo and the gang. Defiance Marine, manufacturers of the Allied Series aluminum. And of course, you have your Arima and Defiance boat series. Check out everything they got going on DefianceMarine.com. Fantastic service center. Their service shop is second to none. Would you not agree?
I agree.
The amount of things they have in store for purchase, amount of gear, availability, and if they don't have it, they'll get it for you. Just a fantastic group of folks out there. So we can never say enough about our good friends out there at Defiance. So, Tommy, number of things going on. First of all, also got to give a couple of mentions to some new contributors we brought on board. Very happy to partner with Silver Horde Gold Star. Kelly Morrison, owner of that company for years. Fantastic products they put out. You and I both fish a ton of their stuff
every day,
and very successful in the outcome when you are dragging Silver Horde products around. Whether it's Hoochie spoons or flashers, I mean, just name the list.
You're going to see a lot of that tonight when we do the how-to. Oh, it's going to be littered with Silver Horde spoons.
Yeah, for good reason. Yeah, I mean, it gets it done. Flat out gets it done. So, and also we want to welcome from Patrick Gaffney. Harbor Herring is a side company that he established years ago. You might be familiar with Patrick and Gaffney's guide service. Is kind of his full-time gig, but he also runs his company, Harbor Herring, and does an outstanding job. Fantastic baits.
Oh, the bait looks really, really good. All the scales are intact. Yeah. Eyes look good. Zero blood. Yep. I mean, perfect. We're going to swim some this weekend at Sekiu.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that for sure. So if you're looking for Harbor Herring and Patrick's product, definitely Point Defiance Marina is the place to get it. The live bait and as well as their frozen product is in fact Harbor Herring. LFS in Bellingham for you guys up north, the Hungry Whale in Westport, and DG Baits down in Portland for you guys down there outside of Oregon, and of course Fox Island Grocery Store. Handful more. You can look up Harbor Herring on Facebook. You can track down Patrick on Facebook. Gaffney's Guide Service for Patrick Gaffney. Check him out on Facebook. Look up his website. All the information's there. We'll have his logo rolling on our screen here throughout the show. A couple phone numbers on there that you can check out if you want to directly call him and inquire about bait. He mostly sells wholesale, but he's also available to put orders together for persons as well. So help us support him. Fantastic family man, small businessman. That's what we like to support. Give Patrick and Harbor Herring a call. All right, with that, we have a number of things going on that we're going to cover. First of all, the regulations finally came out, right? They're always available actually back to July 1st. If you can't find them in your tackle shop, your sporting good outlet store, what have you, you can get them online. Go to WDFW.com or check them out online and just simply Google WDFW 2020 fishing regulations, crabbing regulations, big game regulations. They all pop up. It all comes up. So the entirety is available online and or look for your pamphlets wherever you go shopping to get your gear and equipment. Summer Chinook salmon fishing, Tommy. Columbia River. You know much about that?
I don't really.
Yeah.
I don't really. It's just not my gig. But
which is fine because you're an ocean, saltwater, northern guy. I get it. I only get down to Columbia a couple times a year too. It's not like one of my go-to every weekend I'm off and want to get out fishing. I don't think Columbia. I think Puget Sound and all this other stuff we got going on. That is within a decent driving distance. Fantastic fishery that hopefully we expose you to this summer. Yeah. In between tuna runs. But speaking of which, that summer Chinook fishery has taken off quite well the last couple days to the fact that they extended the opener on the lower stretches until July 15th. So originally it was going to close, I believe, the 8th or 9th. Now we're to the 15th of July, mid-July. I updated folks last week. When you were off fishing, I had to hold it down by myself.
Thank you.
Me and Lauren Culp. We updated the run forecast was updated, and it went from originally preseason forecast on those summer Chinook 38,000 to 65,000. Significant jump. And the run is performing as to be on par with that updated forecast. The fishing is really good. Later on the show, we're going to talk to our buddy Chris Vertopoulos, Chris V's Guide Service. And he's been out there pounding on the lower river and having some great success. Beautiful fish, nice, big, healthy, fresh Chinook. We're going to break it all down for you. This fishery is not going away anytime soon. You're still going to have great opportunity up through the 15th. And who knows, with the numbers coming in as they are, and it all is related to numbers, right? We may see, in addition, do we dare say an additional extension? Not to mention those fish are going to continue to migrate upriver, and everything above is going to continue to be open into August, September, October. So those fisheries will sustain for quite some time. We're going to talk to Chris, mainly focused on the lower river and what's going on in around the area that he's fishing. And then we are going to jump upriver as well, talk to Brad Wagner of Bobber Down Guide Service on the east side over out of Wenatchee. That Brewster Pool is about to take off. We have some really, really solid opportunity on your sockeye fishing, as well as your upper river Chinook fishing is boding well. And so water flows are the key. The amount of water that's coming out of the dams right now, the river's actually moving pretty good. And so they're fishing in a little different areas than you might be accustomed to when we talk about sockeye fishing upper Columbia. More times than not, you're thinking Brewster Pool area. They have a few other areas they're dipping into, fishing the edges and changing up tactics a little bit, but they are getting sockeye. You follow Facebook and social media. There's guys that done in one pass. 4 or 6 fish, 1 pass, 2 pass, done. Second, for guides, it's like on our third group today, done in 2 hours. So you have to know the fishery. You have to know how to change up your techniques and your approach. Those that are having success is because that's exactly what they do. They know where to fish those areas right now with the flows based on what they're doing, and they also know where to transition to once the flows kind of get down to where they need to be. As I was explaining to you earlier, those fish are destined to get up into that Brewster Pool, stage up based on water temperature coming out of the Okanagan. They'll hold up there for a while, gives people a great opportunity to whack them in that Brewster Pool, along with Chinook. And when you want to talk about fighting Chinook on Kokanee Rods, that's one place that it happens on a pretty frequent basis.
There we go.
And I look at that brown Chinook on the end of that line. I'm like, I want my Dodger back. So, but don't let the outer skin color fool you. Those things cut red. The genetics in those fish they're destined to travel 400 miles, right? So they have a high fat content in the lower river. That's why everybody really wants to get after them. They get up there, they're starting to turn a little bit, lay a little color to them, but you cut them open, man, and it is quality meat. So nothing to be, nothing to sneeze at. It's a pretty respectable fishery.
I'd like to get you onto a tuna with a kokanee rod. I think that's our goal for the summer.
We could do that.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
I think we'll probably break a kokanee rod, but
hey, that's okay. It's for science.
Yeah, there you go. Right? I'm going to bring that Eagle Claw 2 to, I think it's a 2 to 4 pound.
Okay. Perfect. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Watch me hook into a 30 pounder. That would be fantastic.
We're gonna limit you at 30 minutes though for that fight.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. Okay. Speaking of which, openings and closings going on around the Pacific Northwest and beyond. Area 7 closed for shrimp on July 7th. So we hit the quota there in Area 7, so shrimping is no longer allowed Area 7. If you're planning to head out there this weekend and get some shrimp on, you're mistaking. But on the positive side, along with all the other areas that are currently open for crab, areas 10 and 11 will open on the 12th. Finally get the crab in areas 10 and 11. Now, the other side of that is, and you got to pay attention to that, it's a very limited weekly opportunity. We're talking Sundays and Mondays only, right? For areas 10 and 11, Sundays and Mondays only is your crab opportunity, which their intent is to sustain that through Labor Day or September 7th. So we have crab opportunity, narrow windows as far as day of opportunities per week, but
try to extend it out.
Try to extend it out through the summer and get your opportunity. So as our area 10 and 9 and 10 open up for Chinook retention here starting the 16th, then you can start tossing them crab pots out, get your Chinook. Yeah. And we're going to get into that in a little bit here. You think that's going to be a pretty quick season up there?
I've changed my mind a little bit.
Oh, since like an hour ago in the driveway?
An hour? Oh, the Puget. You're talking about the sound?
Yeah.
Well,
9 and 10.
It might go a little bit longer. I'm kind of changing my mind about the coastal season.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a little bit more opportunity there, and we'll get into that.
Are we going to move allocation?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Area 10 resident Coho Fishery. So finally took a little opportunity here actually day after 4th of July, which, you typically don't get to bed 4th of July, depending, right? 11, 12 o'clock at night. So drive an hour 45 to go up there and chase resident Coho. I was, I know you'll about beat me for this, but I'm not getting up at 2:30 in the morning. So we got up around 3:30ish and headed north and splashed the boat in. We probably had gear in the water, started trolling around about 7:30. And between 7:30 and 11:30, we were into 7 or 8 fish. The goal was to go after resident Coho with kokanee rods. The goal was to use 8-inch Dodgers, okay? Instead of dragging big flashers. Everybody's up there fishing salmon rods, 11-inch flashers.
Jack pulling them into the boat.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Forget the net, you don't need it.
They're out.
Swing them in.
They're catching lingcod and halibut bait, right?
Right.
We had a little different approach. We went after them with kokanee rods, had a blast using the 8-inch Dodgers, and gonna break that all down for you. We shot video that day, got it into a nice little about 15-minute video here. We'll show later on in the show to kind of give you an idea of what that's like when you go after it with a different approach. Now, I had no expectations. I'm going, we'll go up there, getting a late start. I've talked to a few persons. You always got to seek out your intel. Hopefully, we find a few kind of what depths of water we should be over, and it's similar to the last couple of years I've been up there. But the intent was smaller gear, smaller rods, small 2.5, 2.5 Silver Horde pink with glow back. What are they eating up there, Tommy? Krill, right?
Right.
I mean, they are grabbing small herring and stuff too.
Right.
Couldn't find any firecracker herring or getting a red label. So, okay, we're gonna go with spoons, maybe a hoochie, interchange gear once in a while. The thing that flat out produced was that pink skirted, UV skirted 2-inch hoochie.
The tail wagger, the little one, the 3-inch tail wagger.
Put the hoochie on the spoon, crimp it on there. To me, I think that spoon moving around and that hoochie wiggling around, it looks like a little group of krill shrimp just kind of moving around through the water.
Doing their thing,
right? So got them at 50 feet, got them at 60 feet, got Coho all the way down to 80 feet, hooked a couple Chinook, broke a hook off. Interesting little 3-hour stint, had a great time. Put it together for you in a video. I'll break down the gear and everything. We were using the Silver Horde white with the pink glow. I did not have the moon jelly tape on the back. I've added that later. And I've also, something I've done that we're going to talk about moving forward, that I showed you when you showed up.
Yeah.
I took those 8-inch Dodgers and I converted them to a flasher. And I did that with measurements and bending. Put my engineer, Tommy Donlin, hat on, right?
Yep.
And we're going to take those out there Sunday. We're going to give those a roll. It has to do with troll speed. You and I were talking about this. Current speed, we had 11-foot tides those days, right? Big tide push, almost a -3. Some persons were, it's a little problematic at the boat ramp when you have a -3, depending on the size of your boat. So you had that whole thing going on. And in my head, I'm out there on the water. Now, you're on the water. 7-foot tide, 11-foot tide. What's the big deal? Well, you have the same time frame. And it's how much water you're moving within that time frame. So if you're cramming more water in the space in that time frame, you're moving faster water, correct? So stronger currents. Does it make sense to try and drag Dodgers, which need to dodge back and forth, versus an inline 360 rotator, which you want to roll over and flip and take your hoochie in your presentation and cantilever it and whip it around, right? If the water's too fast, your troll speed's not in jive, and you're doing it wrong, your Dodger's going to be spinning like a drill bit.
Yeah.
And that's not going to get you any fish. That just doesn't work. So we are able to match proper troll speed, line angle. I break that all down in the video. And more times than not, our Dodgers are thumping like they're supposed to. And there's things you can do.
With that bend?
Not with this bend.
Okay.
This is pre-bend, right?
So why did you bend those?
Because I want them to rotate like a flasher.
Why not just use a flasher?
Well, I am going to do that too, but I got a bunch of these.
You had to become part of the fab process for that flasher.
So I did pick up some of the Pro Troll Mini 8-inch rotating flasher, right? I got a handful of those, and I've put my quick release on them, which I'm going to use those as well. It's nice to fight those 2 to 4 pound coho. If that flasher will release, now we're direct line on a Kokanee rod, no drag of flasher or Dodger, and we're going to fight those 2 to 4 pound coho. Kicking the pants, right? So those are rigged up to release. Why did you bend those? Yeah, because I want that Dodger to rotate like a flasher, so I don't have to worry about troll speed. I don't have to worry and gauge, is my Dodger working? Is it spinning? So it worked just fine as a Dodger. I just like to try and screw around and see what I can do.
Right on.
I got Kelly sent me a bunch of these white ones, and I got the chromes and the purples, and hey, why not take a couple, put some bends on them, add a little extra flash, see how they fish. And so
you can do that with the flashers too if you want. You know, sometimes when you stack flashers in a bag and you put them out in the sun, they'll actually relax and they'll flatten out. And so you can heat them up to get that bend back in your flasher, or if you want a more aggressive bend in the flasher, heat it up and then start bending it to get a more aggressive angle on it. The
difference here is you'll find your flashers are predominantly, except Silver Horde makes the 11-inch metal ones, right? But your flashers are hardened plastic.
Right.
So to take a metal Dodger and convert it to a flasher, it's going to work. You got to get the front angle across the front so the shovel digs in, and you got to make sure you bend it the right way.
Right. That's important.
That's kind of important,
that's exciting. That'd be banana flasher. There you go.
We're going to give those a go on Sunday. I'll have a full report on how it works, but it's about having fun. Fishing's supposed to be fun, Tommy. Right?
That's right.
Fishing's supposed to be fun.
That's right.
So we're going to use the Pro Troll flashers, the 8-inch. Ultimately, it's about creating less drag when you want to put gear down on Kokanee rods. Again, the Dodgers work just fine.
Got to have the breakaway feature.
Got to have the breakaway feature. Then you truly can tell that fish is there. Sometimes with those Dodgers, it's like, is there a smolt on there? Is there a shaker on there? That little Dodger, that 8-inch Dodger pulls pretty hard against a flimsy Kokanee rod. You're trying to figure out if you have a fish on or not until you get that fit, because them smaller coho like to just tow behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they'll plane out to the side.
Yeah, they'll just kind of swim along, and then they finally get a little scrappy when you get them about 3/4 of the way in. They break the surface. Now they'll start flipping around. If they're under the surface 6-8 feet, believe it or not, you're cranking. Your Dodger's digging in the water, and those fish are just trolling along. So
right.
Sometimes on that flimsy Kokanee rod, it's a little difficult to decipher. Hey, do I got a 2-pound fish on or not? Right. So. Now, I know you make fun of me because I go after 2 and 4 pound fish.
Hey. No, you know what? Different strokes for different folks.
I'm all about going after our Chinook that's coming up here this next week.
Amen.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to be mooring the boat up there out of Kingston. We're going to be running multiple trips. We're going to be on it. Going to be spinning some of that green label. Going to be pulling a lot of our silver hoard spoons. That herring aid produced well last year. Green spatterback hoochie was my #1 go-to last year. We'll break that down the next week or so as we really get into the Chinook fishery. That green spatterback with the ace high insert and tying that little tuft of yarn in there. I showed a lot of you guys last year, and simply by putting that Mike's herring oil on there, and it was lights out. I distinctly remember day one out there, 3-4 days in after the opener. Went out there. Here's the combination. Flashers rigged to quick release and barbless hooks, obviously. Running hoochies predominantly. Caught a couple on a spoon, 1 on a plug. Everything else came on the green spatterback hoochie, and 10 for 10. Hooked 10, landed 10 on our first day up there. I attribute that to that flasher releasing, fighting completely, keeping tight line on the fish the whole time.
Yeah.
Because you know what happens when that fish runs hard at you, goes past the flasher, and the flasher grabs,
and then gets near the surface,
and then it pops up, and you pull that hook without a barb, goes this way in the mouth, goes this way, goes this way. The tension, you lose the tension. Right. Hook's
game over.
So.
That spatterback hoochie has been a staple in Puget Sound for years. That silver herd, that OG 140, OG 142.
Yep.
That's the one. That
is the one. Write that number down. We'll break that down later, a week or two. We'll revisit that. Different ways to tie them up. There's a lot of different ways to rig your hoochies. They flat out work. Some of the different glow patterns flat out work. Definitely combine that with some of your scent oils that we get from Mike's and or the new Pautzke fire gel is fantastic. We ran the Pautzke herring fire gel on the back of our Dodgers, and we ran tuna. Jordan's always got to have tuna. We put tuna on the spoon and or herring on the spoon and or the shrimp on the spoon, and guess what? They all worked. They all work, and they stay on very well, and they have a very strong scent to them.
Yeah, they do.
Natural scent. Though. You smell that shrimp, it's shrimp. You smell that herring, you're like, I could close my eyes and I would think you were holding a herring in front of me.
When we go on road trips, we go to Nia Bay, Sekiu, Westport. Jerry always falls asleep in the co-captain's chair. Yep. And so, a couple weeks ago, I made the mistake of taking some of that gel and putting it in his pocket. I can still smell it. From here? Yeah. I can still smell it. I didn't want to say anything. I thought maybe water broke at his house or something. In a couple weeks. Yeah. I didn't know what was going on. Yeah. No, it's still there. It's the Atlas Mikes and the Pautzkes, man. It's perfect. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of what's happening on the resident coho front. If you get opportunity to go up there, first of all, when Chinook opens, you get one. So you might as well go after coho as well. Until we get a little later in the season, late, mid-August into September is really when we got those coho fisheries taken off in Area 10. So for now, you still have ample opportunity to go after those resident coho. Yeah. For me, it's worth it. I throw a couple extra Kokanee rods on the boat. Carry a few of these smaller Dodgers or flashers, and go have some fun with it, right? Nothing wrong with that. Or you can fight them on your 9.5 or 10.5 foot downrigger rods. Nothing wrong with that. Pretty small fish to be tussling on, 60-pound braid and 30-pound leader. So that being said, all right, we're going to jump into Sekiu with you. Spent some time there last weekend when I was stuck working. Guys had a phenomenal trip. You really did. Yeah. No, it was lights out. And it was a little surprising to you, location of fish, how well you did, how far you did not have to run. Right. And we're also going to discuss the fact that, hey, it's next weekend. Doesn't mean everything's exactly the same. Might have a few changes coming about. Yeah, we do. Because you guys are feet out there right after we get on the show tonight. That's right. Right? Yep. So we're going to jump out for a break. We come back. We're going to break down Sekiu. Talk about what it was doing last week, what you did to find success, some advice on fishing that inside water. Yeah. And then we'll kind of look to what the approach will be as you head out there this weekend. Yeah. Some of the reports you've already gotten, and hopefully help people out. Let's face it,
I was down at Sportco this morning, and probably 5, 6, 8 people came up to me asking about Sekiu. Hey, saw your report on the page from you. Thank you, by the way. Sekiu looks like it's crazy good. How far out do you go with it? Tune in tonight. I told her, tune in tonight. We're gonna
left him hanging.
Yeah, I left him hanging.
Bring him in.
All right. Jump out for a quick break. We come back, breaking down Sekiu for you. Everybody heading out there, leaving tonight or tomorrow. You're going to get you dialed in with Tommy Donlin right here on FHM. We come back.
Defiance Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers, or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
It's easier than ever to browse homes and connect with an agent on the go with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate's mobile app. With the app, your home search is synced across all of your devices, so you can pick up your home search anytime, anywhere. Take full advantage of an enriched, mobile-optimized map search experience. Use location services to quickly find homes near you that match your search criteria. Draw your own map boundaries to find homes in a specific area, and apply layers to view school districts, neighborhoods, zip codes, and more. The app's user-friendly design makes it easier than ever to find a home you'll love. Narrow down your search results, save your search criteria, and save your favorite homes. You can browse your saved homes in a list view that puts photos and key details like price and square footage right at your fingertips. Or check out your saved homes displayed on the map.
Here we go.
Hey, welcome back. Fish on Northwest. Wayne England, Tommy Donlin in studio. Lots of comments jumping on this evening, and appreciate everybody tuning in. A few new folks following us here, Tommy, and shout out to Daniel Roll for checking us out this evening. He is heading over to Brewster this week, so good luck over there, Daniel. Hopefully the Sockeye are there. Little jump from Sockeye, Tommy, dial back into Chinook, maybe scratch out a coho or two. But primarily targeting Chinook. Now, you guys headed out there. This is typically a time of year you're Nia Bay on the brain. It's
right.
Like Nia Bay, Nia Bay, Nia Bay.
Yeah.
Problem is, this year, don't have access directly out of Nia Bay.
Yeah.
So the plan is we're gonna launch out a Sekiu, take the corner and head on out. We're gonna get out there on the ocean. We're gonna go to the deep water. We're gonna go after salmon.
Yep.
Plans kind of changed. What, day one or day two on the water?
I was really holding on to Nia Bay opening up. And Michael Lawrence came on Facebook Live and basically said, hey guys, it's not going to happen this year. Yeah. Make other plans. And so we ended up at Sekiu, and we got in on a Wednesday night, and we had a couple hours. We were just going to head out and just check the local waters and see how the bite was. And we spent a little time just right out in front of the marina in about 150 feet of water in the caves. Didn't really see much activity or bait in that area. Went to Slip Point, and as soon as we got there and dropped lines, I mean, it was on like Donkey Kong. I mean, it was, every pass was a fish. Every pass was a fish. Kind of
surprising. Yeah. Didn't really.
It was really surprising. Yeah. I think this is probably one of the better seasons that they've seen in recent history. Yeah. And it's so good to the point where, see, the thing is, you can go out in a duck boat if you wanted to. You know those little paddle boats I'm pretty confident that I could catch snook in a paddle boat going from the marina to Slip Point. Now I'd get caught in the current and I'd have to work my butt off to get back upstream.
Yeah,
you know,
but you're a strong kid.
But
like a mule.
it'd be worth it if I had to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody's getting them, and it was everybody was limiting. I mean, literally everybody. And so when I started seeing that, I started worrying about the quota for Area 5. But the thing, I think the other bright side of the coin in terms of the quota is that Area 4, people aren't going into Area 4 because they don't have to. They're just sitting right out in front of Sekiu. And the people that have ventured out to Swiftsure Bank, which is part of Area 4, they're not in the fish. They're not finding those fish on the bank yet. That was as of last week. That, you know, as of today, the bank has started to turn on. More fish are being caught towards Nia Bay, towards Tattoosh Island, Mushroom Rock, Wada Island. A lot more fish down that way.
Sounds like guys are stopping out in front, giving it a couple trolls, not popping. They're heading out, getting out more towards the ocean, heading out towards 4, right? To
be honest with you, Sekiu last week fished like the offshore fisher usually does, where if you go with the current, get your gear in the water, you're hooking a fish literally every pass. We had big tides last week. We had big ebbs. So we were literally running up, driving back. There was a couple bites in there where we were able to basically back troll or hold on fish and get fish, but most of it was trolling with the current. You know, something that you got to think about when you're doing that is, you know, if the current's going 3 knots or 2.5 knots, you've got to overcome that current. So ocean salmon fishing, so you got to be doing, you know, if it's 2.5 knots and your goal is to do 2.5 knots, then you're doing 5 knots. And you will fly past Sekiu in a hurry. And so you're making pretty quick passes, running back up, but really productive. And I mean, we got fish right off the kelp beds, you know, 60 feet of water, 70 feet of water, and then all the way out to 300 feet of water, right? And 225 feet on the wire. So it's not like those fish were like concentrated in a really fine lane. And they were up high morning and evening, like 60 to 90 on the rigger, and then dropping down to 130 all the way down to 250 on the rigger.
Lots of feed?
Lots of bait. Oh my God. I mean, you know, the entire troll, you could just look on the water and like micro herring were just jumping everywhere. Like no shortage of bait. I've got some screenshots I'll have to pull off my Ray Marine Axiom, but I mean, I've got bait balls that are 200 feet thick. In that area. And so those fish are just crushing bait, feeding. They're in chew mode. And anytime you get those fish in chew mode like that, with that amount of bait in the area, you're gonna put something in front of their face, they're gonna eat it.
So let's talk about that. What predominantly were you putting in front of their face that they were eating time and time again?
You know, I would say that the size of the bait that they were eating was smaller than a red label herring. I mean, it was micro, really, really tiny, like 2 inches. And so we came out of the gate running Coho Killers, silver horned Coho Killers, and we were getting them with those silver horned Coho Killers.
Color?
You know, we had Jerry's gonna probably slap me later for this, but you know, he's pretty secretive about. I mean, I even had to peek over his shoulder to know what he was fishing with. But it was the UV purple. It's like it's a chrome Coho Killer, and it's got a UV purple stripe on the one end, and all chrome. I would say that probably got most of our fish. Now, I don't know if that was because Jerry was fishing that rod or because of the lure. It's probably a little of both. Combination of both.
Flasher make a difference, color or style or anything? No,
I would say based on what I saw, not really. You know, something shiny and green. For the most part.
A little scent on there?
Yep, definitely. We were running scent, herring scent. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, wide range or wide opportunity for water depth, right? I mean, you're up close shore, 60 foot, 70 foot, and clear out 225 foot on the wire, 300 foot of water. So that's a pretty good variance right there. So what do you think's changed? What's going on this week? Sounds like it's slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it's just your typical progression of waves of fish coming through, you know. And so I've got some folks that were out there today. They're actually going to text me a report here. Captain Paul Kim's been out. They've just been hammering the fish. He said things have slowed down in Sekiu for kings, but they did get 4 kings and 3 coho. Best depth was the 300-foot contour. fishing 225, 250 feet of cable. And now the bait has grown. They're eating green label herring now, which is good. We got a few on green label and anchovies last week, but they're still running the Coho Killers. So that's a live report from Captain Paul Kim. He's out in front of Sekiu right now. Mike Surdick's out there as well. He's fishing down closer to Nia Bay, and he's getting them between Tatoosh Island and Wada, kind of around the Mushroom Rock area. And I've gotten a couple other reports that have said Swiftsure Bank is now on. So, you know, and for the small boaters that don't necessarily want to venture, you know, too far offshore, Swiftsure Bank's about 32 nautical from Sekiu. Wada Island is 14 nautical, and Tatoosh is another, I'd say 6, so about 20 nautical all the way to Tatoosh. But you can fish in there safely, and if you don't want to run offshore.
Yeah, well, and it's not that you're probably still going to hunt and peck a few right out in front. You have to work a little harder for them, right? But it's not that there's not fish around, just not as many as, you know, you're going to hear that report from last week. And when it's not happening, you're going to be like, oh, doggone. But, you know, some days salmon fishing, you hook 1 or 2. Right. Some days you hook 14 or 20.
Yeah, my advice would be go to where the fish are. I mean, don't try to grind it out. If it's slow, leave.
Well, unless you got that small boat.
Well, you can still travel like up the coast or down the coast, right? I mean, those fish are somewhere along that coastline. It's just a matter of picking your point and trolling along and finding them.
What do you think is next for that given area? I mean, you think it's going to sustain?
Well, you know, typically this time of year, the offshore spots turn on, like the banks, and I mean, it's kind of like you sort through the fish and keep the ones you want. Fishing all day. You know, you may touch, you know, 40 to 50 kings, and you're picking your 8 or whatever your limit is.
What are your thoughts on quota? What do you think?
You know,
you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, I talked it earlier. We got to get the Area 3 quota into Area 4. It's not happening in Area 3. And we, you know, I think based on what I've seen the last couple of weeks, we have really good probability of stretching out that Area 4 quota, which is where the reason that we talk about Nia Bay is because it is literally a convergence zone for all of the fish, not just the fish that are hitting Puget Sound, but the ones that are going to the Columbia, the ones that are going to all the BC rivers. So it is just the place to be. And that Swiftsure Bank and some of the banks near Nia Bay, they just hold bait. Like even before the fish arrive, the bait are there, right? The whales are there. So it's just a really productive feeding ground for those fish to be. That's why it's the place to be. So we got to get that quota there.
Well, let's hope it does. All right, we are. My phone is blowing up unexpectedly, and this is starting to kind of grind my gears a little bit. We're going to jump out for a quick break. I'm going to yell at some people, and we come back. We're going to get Chris Vertopoulos on the phone. Chris V's guide service. He's down there on the Lower Columbia having a smackdown on summer kings. Fishing's pretty darn good. The fish are big and beautiful and plentiful, and we're going to find out exactly how to go about that. I know a number of you folks will be heading down there with the extension through the 15th. Plenty of opportunity on that Columbia River. Some of you may still struggle with the hows and the wheres. Chris is going to dial you in. So jump out for a quick break, and we'll be right back here on FHN in a couple minutes.
A Northwest favorite for almost 40 years, Arima boats are manufactured with pride right here in Bremerton, Washington. Arima Boats offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. With literally thousands of Arima boats on the water throughout the Pacific Northwest, Arima boats are a proven hull design that offers incredible fuel economy and all of the amenities that a serious angler is looking for. All Arima boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Arima boats are designed to maximize deck space while also providing ample seating. Contact us today at Arima Boats for all your boating needs and let us help you get out on the water.
Hey, welcome back, Fish on Northwest. Dwayne England, Tommy Donlin in studio. Josh working the dials over in the corner, and David Butternut sitting in the wings, just with a little smile on
the man,
face. So
the legend.
Nice to have everybody back together. Columbia River, Tommy, Lower Columbia River, they got big Chinook too, you know?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, it's going pretty well. Next on here, our good buddy Chris Vertopoulos, Chris V's Guide Service out of Portland, beating up on that Lower Columbia and stretches there and around. And boy, Chris, you made it sound like at the break that it might be a little bit off and on depending where you're at or what's going on. How's fishing been the last couple of days?
Well, I've been fishing about the last 4 days, and it's been about an every other day thing. But I got to add, Dwayne, that I had my first day on opening day on the Columbia was really tough, and I wasn't finding anything. The water was a bit on the high side. So I switched back to kind of an old reliable this time of year. I went back to the very lower Willamette and fished the head of Multnomah Channel the next day. And we started doing better than I was doing on the Columbia. So I kind of been sticking that out. And even that hasn't been great every day, but it's been a little more consistent than the Columbia has been. And I'm talking to my sources daily, and I'm hearing a few fish here and there, but I'm not hearing of anything great or any big numbers on the Columbia by any means. But, you know, we had a decent day yesterday on the Willamette, had a hold of 6 fish and put three to the boat. And then today, a complete turnaround. We had 1 bite, 1 fish on, and in the first about hour and a half, and then not another bite the rest of the day. And so I'm calling it an every other day fishery.
Okay, it's an every other day fishery. For consistency, it's an every other day fishery. Are they messing around with flows a whole lot right now? They still dumping a lot of water. What's the flow status? What's the water temperature?
Well, consistently on the Columbia, they have been dropping it for the last week.
Okay.
So it should be down around, depending on, you know, what time of the tide it is. It's been, you know, between 6.5 and 7.5 feet. Whereas last week on the 4th of July, it was at about 8.5 to 9.5 feet. So it's come down a few feet. They're dropping it. And that does affect the Willamette also, because the Columbia backed up the Willamette. Now that it's dropping, the Willamette is flowing more and moving a little faster, other than its normal lake water like it's been in that lower river.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it does affect it. And the water temperature in the Willamette is 65, and what I've been marking when I do go out to the Columbia and try it out, because I'm real close to it where I'm fishing, is just a couple degrees cooler, you know, 60, 64, 63, you know, in there. And it varies a little bit, too, from day to day. But, yeah, we've got warm temperatures, you know, and what I have been hearing from the Columbia is you definitely want to get in close to shore. The fish have been moving close to shore. And don't be afraid to get in that 8, 10, 12 feet of water. And the guys that have been fishing wobblers have been doing the best, is what I've been hearing. Huh. And then I did hear about just today, I talked to Terry Mulkey, and he had a friend or a source that was up at Bonneville yesterday and did get into a few fish on spinners up in the fast water. But nothing real consistent to get me out there. Not yet.
Not yet.
So what drives that when the fish are on wobblers or they're on spinners or they're on bait? I mean, what's the dividing line? How do you choose what presentation to go with, and why do the fish switch back and forth?
Well, I'm first thing I'm going to do is go with what I know has worked in the past, because even though this hasn't been a fishery that I can consistently fish every year, because we haven't been able to fish it really for the last couple of years.
Yeah, right.
But there have been, over the last 20 years, there have been some years where we can get on it. And I've done best up in the Bonneville area with spinners, small gold, copper, and painted blade spinners on anchor in heavy water. I've also done well with K-15 quick fish, and I'm sure some of the smaller mag lips will work now these days. Down low, I know some guys are getting into them on coon shrimp. I think Clancy's boy and some of their guides have been fishing for kings down there in the Cathlamet on down area and picking up a couple, but they're getting some kind of a mixed bag of steelhead, summer steelhead as well. Mm-hmm. And just picking through them and, you know, getting, like I said, 1, 2, 3 kings a day. You know, you can catch these fish on all these methods, but what I do know, since the water's over 55 degrees, that don't be afraid to use hardware, because if it was colder water, you know, it'd be more of a bait show. But since it's over 55 degrees and more like 65 degrees, hardware works just fine.
Yeah. So that particular area that you're concentrating, focusing on, let's talk kind of exact hardware, 360 flashers and spinners, or
exactly.
Any scents you're using, any specific colors perhaps that might help people out.
Well, my best combination yesterday that drew 4 of the 6 bites we had was a little red and white mulky blade, that 3.5 blade that he has with a couple of red beads, and a 26-inch leader to Pro Troll. And I got a great Pro Troll that Kylie Brem gave me here not too long ago. It's kind of an aqua green and a moon jelly on one side and then prism tape on the other side, and it's lighted. It's got a flashing light on it.
Oh yeah.
And that was our #1 flasher.
The blinker.
And
the blinker.
Yeah, a blinker. Yeah. But I've been getting them on a multitude of colors of spinners, but I've been doing better with reds as opposed to greens and chartreuses, kind of reds and red combinations. And I've been fishing, kind of mid-level to down on the bottom. And the Willamette fish tend to suspend quite a bit. Columbia fish are always on the bottom.
Sure.
That's one real different thing about the Willamette versus the Columbias. The Willamette fish will consistently suspend.
You think that's current speed or pressure?
I've racked my brain about that for years, and it could be current. That's one angle to look at. But one weird thing that I keep thinking about is the lower Willamette, the bottom is so damn polluted. It's a super fun site, by the way, that maybe those fish just want to get further away from all that toxic muck and sludge down there.
Yeah, possibly, huh?
Also, the watercolor is always runs murkier on the Willamette.
Yeah, a lot more turbidity in the Willamette for sure. Yep.
So, maybe they just don't need to get as deep like they would on the Columbia because Chinook, they like dark.
Yeah,
they like to be down there in the dark, and then that Willamette's filtering a lot of the light out, so maybe they don't feel like they need to get down there so much.
What is your leader length and pound of test you're running between your Pro Troll and your spinner?
I've been running a 26-inch leader, and I've been running 50-pound test.
Okay.
I have no qualms about using a heavy leader, and I feel like I get more fish to the boat. I don't have any mishaps or break-offs. 50-pound test all the way when running Pro Trolls and spinners.
Braid to a dual lock right to your Pro Troll?
Well, I actually run braid to about a 10-foot bumper, a 40-pound test.
Mm-hmm.
And and then a slider on that, and with one of Pro Escobedo's VIP Outdoors line locks. Those things work great.
Oh,
if you aren't fishing them, you haven't made it all the way to fishing Pro Trolls yet, because you got to fish his line locks.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're the ticket.
Okay.
It just prevents line twist from going up your line, especially if you use braid.
Yeah.
And then I've been playing around with different bumper lengths. I started out a few years ago running 30 inches, and that worked fine, but, makes for a little bit longer total leader setup. So I've pared it down a little bit to 24 inches, and that seems to be working just fine, too.
Okay. How much lead? I didn't ask you how much lead or how much weight we're using out in front of that Pro Troll.
On my bow rods, I've been running 12 ounces.
Okay.
And then out the back, I run 10. And if I run a rod for myself, I'll put it on 8 ounces and run it 50 feet out there.
Okay. Any particular length on a dropper?
I do run a dropper. A lot of guys don't, but I like a little about 6-inch dropper of 20-pound test.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I do get them on the bottom sometimes, and I don't want my flasher dragging on the mud, so I'll find bottom and reel it up a crank. And but I'm a dropper guy. I like droppers. Some guys don't. That's fine too.
Yeah, I do too. It helps you find bottom, and then gives you the opportunity just to bring it up a little bit, stay right off bottom, and especially the 360s with that big arcing spin that they put on there. They can go down, scuff the dirt, pop back up, scuff the dirt. But if you're running your gear right, I typically am anywhere from 8 inches to a foot, but that just seems to in one crank up or whatever it is, depending on the fishery. But that helps to keep your gear out of the bottom. That's for sure.
So Chris, I know you said there were some guys getting them in like 8 to 10 feet of water, but what's been your most effective depth. And then also, I don't know if you have side vision on your boat or some sort of side scanning or 3D surround sonar, but what I was really wondering is, you know, on the days that you find that are productive, are you actually marking more fish and seeing more fish than the days that are not as productive?
On the Willamette where I've been fishing, I've been marking a lot of fish, and you go through little pods of them and groups of them, and they're definitely salmon, a lot of them, especially the ones that we're seeing suspended in that 40, 50 feet of water in the Willamette. Now out on the Columbia, like I said earlier, you know, those fish hit they run the bottom. Their bellies are touching sand sometimes. I know it. That's just what Columbia fish do. And when I fished out on the Columbia on the 4th of July, boy, I wasn't marking hardly anything. Then the next day I jump into the Willamette and I'm marking lots of fish, and we're having better success.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the Willamette, you know, there's sturgeon there too. There's walleye there. There's smallmouth bass. And so you're marking little smaller fish at times, and you're marking some big fish on the bottom that, you know, are like a 7-foot sturgeon.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, when you're in 50 feet of water and you mark something at, 26 feet, that more than likely that's a salmon.
Gotcha. Hey, so one last question from me. Talk about straight current a little bit. Have you ever had a situation where maybe your zincs weren't performing, or know somebody that was putting a voltage delta into the water, and when they're fishing that shallower, you know, I'll say like 30 feet or less, they were finding that they couldn't get bites due to that current? Have you experienced that, and do you test that on your boat? Absolutely.
Years ago, I had a voltage leak on, it was a wire that was rubbing. In fact, I think it was for my washdown pump that was rubbing on my hull and rubbed clean through the wire insulation. And it was noticeable. And I fished Tillamook Bay a lot, and we fished some super shallow water there. And if you're running a hot boat, as we call it, you're not fishing. You're pushing fish away from your boat. And what I noticed was that whenever I did finally hook a fish, and that was in deeper water, and I was getting my lines way back, and I got that fish close to the boat, you know how they like to go into the boat? They absolutely avoided going under my boat, and they wanted to run away from my boat. And it got me thinking and got me talking to people, because I was having a tough couple of weeks there. And somebody suggested to me that, hey, let's check your voltage. And anyway, I had met a guide in back here in Portland that was making boats at the time, and he had a special attachment to his voltmeter that he was able to throw it in the water, one lead in the water, and touch the other one to my hole. He says, you got a leak, man. And we had to search around, and we found it and isolated it, and fishing got better for me right away.
Right on.
Yep.
There is definitely something to that.
Definitely some too. A lot of guys overlook that for sure. Tommy's a stickler on it. He always asks because he's curious on what your boat's doing. Do you know what your boat's doing, and how's your success rate, right? Definitely correlates. So how about openings coming up, buddy? You got some room to take some folks fishing over the next several weeks to a month? You going to keep beating up on that Columbia as these fish keep running on through there?
Yeah, I do have some vacation stuff coming up. I'm going trout fishing in Central Oregon at Crane Prairie here, leaving on Monday afternoon for a few days with the family. So I'm out for a little bit, but when I get back, I've definitely got some openings, a few openings here and there. But you know, Buoy 10's coming up right around the corner.
Sure is. Yep, opens the 14th. So of August, not July, Tommy. Anyway,
it's a short little season for us, but we're going to make the best of it.
Yeah, we sure are. Hoping to be down there for a couple 3 days or so. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, Chris, if they want to hopefully book a trip with you in the next month or so?
You know, if they get to my website, you know, you can get to me various ways, whether it be by the phone, email, Facebook message me, what have you. You know, I'm easy to find, and my phone number is, so the phone number's great. Just call me on the phone. I answer.
Yes, you do. All right. Thanks for taking the time this evening. Looking forward to some more picks. Want to see a couple with that FHN hat in there. Hint, hint. So anyway, always a pleasure, my friend. Keep in touch, and hopefully we get out on the water here soon.
I look forward to it. You guys take care. Thanks, you.
Buddy. Have a good night. See you. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Chris V, everybody, dialed in, been fishing for a long time, knows that Columbia, Willamette, that whole stretch down there, does very well. If he's struggling on some days with fish, most people are struggling. Chris is dialed. He's got a good program going. So pleasure to have him on board. He's one of our field correspondents here at FHN, always willing to give full reports, doesn't hold anything back, enjoys sharing information because knowledge is powerful. With that, Tommy, we're going to jump out for a quick break. We come back in. You're going to dial it in the old bait lab.
That's right.
With a how-to this week, fishing spoons for salmon.
That's right.
You can definitely do it wrong. You're going to break it down for me.
You can do it wrong?
Well,
okay, we'll talk about it.
You can do everything wrong.
If you watch this how-to,
you're going to do it right.
You're going to do it right. That's every time.
So prior to this, you might be doing it wrong.
Yeah,
right?
There we go. The cliffhanger.
After this, you have no reason to not do it right. So
that's right.
All right, jump out for a quick break. We come back in the bait lab with Tommy Donlin, trolling spoons for salmon. Don't go anywhere. Stick through the break. We'll be right back after this.
Defiance boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Defiance boats come standard with large fish boxes that are fully insulated so that you can ice your fish properly all day. Defiance boats feature a 21 to 22 degree dead rise at the transom and a large reverse chine for incredible handling and stability offshore. Defiance boats are foam flotation filled and unsinkable for the ultimate in safety while fishing offshore. Defiance boats feature fuel-efficient hull designs with large fuel tank capacity so that you can have maximum fuel range for making long offshore runs completely safe and affordable. All Defiance boats come standard with self-bailing decks for improved safety while at sea. Defiance Boat offers all our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Defiance Boats for all your boating needs, and let us help you get out on the water.
Welcome back to FHN. I'm Tommy Donlin. We're in the bait lab brought to you by Max Lure, and today we're going to talk about trolling spoons for salmon. Okay, now if you look at the table here, I've got almost, I would say, I don't know, 70% of the spoons for salmon known to man. And I'm going to walk through each type of these spoons. We're going to talk about sizes. We're going to talk about colors, how to rig them, how to scent them. I mean, if you watch this how-to and you're struggling afterwards, please give us a call or shoot us a message. Okay. The first thing that you'll notice when you look at the table is I've got all sorts of different sizes. So I'm just going to kind of walk you around the table right here. This right here, you're going to notice a Irish on this table. This is a spoon from Silver Horde that we have just done absolutely phenomenal with. It's got a pearl white green edge, UV on this side, glow on that side. You're going to notice it all over the table. Okay, let me just something right here. Don't judge me, okay? I know some of these hooks got some rust on them. They've sat in the box a little bit. Don't worry, I'm going to change out those hooks, but I want to walk you through these first. Okay, come over here. You've got your Coho Killer. Okay, now you don't just take this out of the package and run it. I'm going to show you how to rig this guy as well. Your Coho Killer is for when they're on those micro baits. We were running them last week in Sekiu, and we were getting up, 20, 21, 22 pound Chinook. So don't think that, if you're targeting big fish, you have to run big gear. That's absolutely not the case. Okay, you can always size it down. Along this side over here, you're going to notice some of these tail waggers. Okay, this totally does change the action of the spoon by having a hoochie in the back. Slows it down a little bit. Okay. Longer presentation, and it gives it a nice target on that hook right there. As we walk further down the table, this is a offering from Kingslayer. This is a titanium spoon. Okay, let me just tell you a little bit about our friend titanium. You're not going to be able to bend it. Okay, so the shape that this spoon is in, this shape is going to stay this shape. So don't think that you're going to make the action that you want out of the spoon. You get what you get. Okay, and you're going to notice the profile's a little bit longer. So when you're in a lot of those candlefish areas up in the San Juans, this is the one. Okay. When we do go offshore and you get a lot of those kings and Chinook on they're eating big herring, they're eating sardines, they're eating stuff like that, you can upsize your spoon. Okay, now there's a couple different ways to do that, a lot of different offerings. This is Atomic spoon right here. You've got your Coyote spoon right here, 5-inch, 6-inch. This is a 6-inch Atomic in the 602 color here. So you can totally increase the size of your spoon to match the hatch for what you're going after. If you want to go full commercial and they're eating just, that purple label herring, you can go Superior, big Mustad 95 170. That's the thing. The reason that spoons are so fun to fish is because you get to choose the hook that goes on the back of the spoon, and you can pick a hook that has a big throat and a big gap to it, so that you have a lot of meat in that, of that fish in the hook. And if you do your job as an angler, you're going to land that fish. We don't lose a whole lot of fish on spoons. We really don't. Even with the barbless hooks, they stay hooked. So that's the beautiful thing about spoons. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the color schemes that you're going to see on the table. Obviously, we're going to fish a lot of greens, a lot of blues, right? That's predominant. One of the, as an angler, I'm constantly out of Nia Bay. We fish deep. You're going to see me run a lot of spoons with this glow backside. And, if you start flipping these over, obviously all the Irish creams are glow. This is a cookies and cream that has been just absolutely beat up over the years. Is still fishing. That's glow. You can see all the teeth marks on these spoons. And you're going to see that on a lot of my spoons. If the water clarity is really good, and I'm, say, fishing in that upper 150 feet of the water column, I'm perfectly fine running a chrome back to some of the spoons. So you'll see something like this over here that's got a chrome back. It's kind of like picking those ducks in, the dots. You pick the duck and you look for the dot. It's the same thing here. You can look and see if it's chrome or glow. But you get the drift. No pun intended. So if you're less than 150, I'd say chrome and UV, all for it. If you're fishing deep, clarity is not that good. I'm totally a big fan of glow on the backside. Something to remember there. Okay, let's skip back and talk about this Coho Killer for a second. Now, with this guy here, you're going to notice that if I put it on its side, it's got a bend to it. Okay, when you get it out of the box, it's not going to have much of a bend. So what I like to do is right where you see these two inflection points in the spoon, you're just going to take your thumbs and pinch it, and you're going to put what I would call a mean bend in this spoon to the point where it looks like that. And that's going to give it a really erratic, noticeable swing motion. Okay. You're not gonna miss it. Trust me. Okay. Now, some of the, you're going to notice right here, this leader. If I'm fishing, you got to kind of match the leader to the fishery that you're fishing. If I'm up in the San Juans and I'm targeting fish that are typically under that 20-pound category, you know, most of the time, honestly, they're in that maybe 6 to 8-pound category for blackmouth. I'm going to drop down and I'm going to run 20-pound, 25 at most. If I'm in the ocean and I'm going to encounter kings up to 40 pounds, it's going to be a 30-pound Maxima Ultra Green show for me. Okay. Now, you know, not all lines are created equal. Okay. I think we've talked about this before. I'm going to hit it again. Just because it says 20-pound on the spool doesn't mean that it actually tensile test strength out to 20 pounds. Maxima is really good at understanding the capability of their line. So a 20-pound Maxima Ultra Green line is really probably around 30 pound. 30 pound is probably up around 40, 45. You kind of get the picture. But that's why I run 30 pound in the summer on the spoons. Now, as far as leader length goes behind the flasher, I'm typically, for the summer kings that like a faster troll, more aggressive presentation, they're in chew mode, they're eating. I'll go anywhere from 30 inches to about 40 inches. Really don't go more than 40 inches unless for some reason I think they're line shy or I'm just trying to switch it up, and then maybe I'll lengthen that leader out to 5 or 6 feet. But I'm a big fan of keeping it sucked in a little bit closer to that flasher. 30 to 40 inches is about appropriate. Okay. One of the other things too, scent. Always use scent. Got a couple different options. Atlas mics, this stuff, this Lunker lotion right here is absolutely money. Sticks to the spoon. You're not sitting there wondering if it's washed off if you've been trolling for 20, 30 minutes. Put it on the back side of your spoon, kind of back here on the tail section, and just check it occasionally. Just to keep my spoons clean though, I do scrub them at the end of every day and make sure they're absolutely clean. Lemon Joy works. Just a little toothbrush and scrub it. Get all of this stuff off your spoons, because if you forget and you kind of leave it in the tackle box, you're going to have a gooey mess, and then you're going to smell like Jerry. Remember what I told you had that scent in his pocket? Okay. Just remember that. Wash it off. Okay. Let's see. Running the riggers. I'm going to tell you a little secret here. Maybe it's not a secret. When you're running a bigger spoon, okay, when you're running one of these guys, you can't just drop the handle on the downrigger ball and send the downrigger ball down at 90 miles an hour. These things have a lot of drag to them. And what happens is as that downrigger ball goes down in the water, these things drift up, okay? And if you drop the hammer on your rigger and just throw it to the bottom, this hook is gonna end up above your flasher or on your downrigger. So when you're running one of these large spoons, you gotta go slow, okay? Slow is pro. Don't forget that. Okay. One other thing, stacking riggers, you know, are a great tool to stack riggers with. So when I say stacking rigger, stacking your downrigger is you've got, you know, one presentation on the bottom, you know, with your flasher and your spoon behind it, and say you want to run a second spoon above that flasher, you can go 30 feet up the line. And what I like to do is I'll run an inline flasher, or I'll just run the spoon by itself. If I'm running a spoon by itself on that upper rig, on that stacked rig, I'm typically going to go with something that's at least the 4-inch size, if not larger, so that it doesn't require a flasher to bring attention to the spoon. Okay, keep it 4-inch or higher. All right, that's the 2 on spoons. I gotta say, this is probably one of the easiest things that you could fish for salmon. The only rigging that you have to do is to tie on a leader and put it behind your flasher. It really doesn't get any easier than that. You don't have to tie a hoochie. You're not trying to rig a bait and find that perfect roll to the bait. If your spoon's not fishing, do not hesitate to tweak it, okay? The Coho Killers are not the only ones that you can tweak. In fact, if you get a really close look at some of these 4-inch kingfishers, you'll notice that I've come here to the back and I've started to bend that tail back just to give it a more erratic motion. So kind of keep that in mind. If you're not getting bit, switch it up. You know, if you got one spoon that's getting bit and another that's not, do not hesitate to start tweaking that other spoon. Okay, you've got all the knowledge on spoons. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we are gonna go through and see Dwayne and Jordan and Josh catch Area 10 resident coho. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm gonna stand here and look excellent.
Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
It's easier than ever to browse homes and connect with an agent on the go with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate's mobile app. With the app, your home search is synced across all of your devices, so you can pick up your home search anytime, anywhere. Take full advantage of an enriched, mobile-optimized map search experience. Use location services to quickly find homes near you that match your search criteria. Draw your own map boundaries to find homes in a specific area, and apply layers to view school districts, neighborhoods, zip codes, and more. The app's user-friendly design makes it easier than ever to find a home you'll love. Narrow down your search results, save your search criteria, and save your favorite homes. You can browse your saved homes in a list view that puts photos and key details like price and square footage right at your fingertips. Or check out your saved homes displayed on the map.
not going to hit anybody, we're going to need that net. Probably the small net. There he is. So we into that other rod. Yeah. Let's slide it on. coming on board. All right, you on the motor? Well, there you go. And that's what we're up here for. Hit that nice little pink and glowback spoon. Again, they're not really huge. You know, about the size of those nice kokanee we've been getting. So we're using kokanee rods with salmon-sized spoons on them, but yeah, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, guess what that was caught on?
Tuna? Nice. There we go. All right, let's get it in the box there, George.
Tuna for the win once again.
On the spoon or on the spoon?
On the spoon incline.
Okay. Popped it out of the cliff, 80 foot on this one. So our first fish was at 50 feet. We've been out here for about an hour now though, and the sun's coming up pretty good. So we dropped down a little deeper on our side rods, and we're still at 50 on the back rod. Again, on that little pink spoon. And
Tuna.
White Dodger. And tuna. Gotta have that tuna scent. There we go. And what is it? A little shaker? It's like a little shaker. Yeah, a little shaker. That thing. Woo! And what popped it out of the clip is it got bit, probably by a Chinook. So that's what happened. We actually hooked this small smolt, and it got bit by that got bit by a Chinook down at 80 feet. How about that? That's why I ripped it out of the clip. Huh? That was exciting for a second. Better take her easy.
You want to hit that camera going?
Yeah. Alright, we're all clear as far as boats. I'll slow us down a little bit. How's it feeling? Decent fish? Yeah. Okay. Alright. Well, that's on the pink.
I mean, it is a kokanee rod though, so.
It is.
But
could be a 4-pound coho. Could be a 5-pound coho. There you go. So we are in 300 feet of water. We're trolling about 2 miles an hour against the current. We're actually just going to start making our turn, so we're kind of going about a 45 across current when we hooked up. And running a white 8-inch Dodger. Nope. There we go. Another nice fish. Yeah, that was a little bigger than the first one.
yeah.
Get that off my finger. Well, again, on the pink and white. Roll back with the hoochie. Yeah. How'd you like that on that kokanee rod?
It's fun.
Oh
yeah.
Alright, get the bonker. Let's do this. Then we'll pull that hook out. Here we go.
Carol bass.
Yeah. We got a boat coming. Alright, we got one rod in.
Yeah.
We just hooked up.
Hey, he'll call you right back. Alright.
You know, it's weird though. I'm not doing a whole lot. Pop the clip. This doesn't feel like much. This feels heavy. Better not just be a big old jelly. don't know if we got into that other gear is the problem. That's why it feels a little strange in our sport. This is a very small fish. There it is. He just caught along. Up in that direction. It wasn't beautiful. Oh, there it goes. Here we go. Off we go. That one just popped out too. Look how it goes. Take that rod. Don't shit.
Double.
We got a double. There we go. Holy smokes.
Did you fish one net?
Yeah.
Huh?
We got this guy over here. Don't worry about the net for a while, Josh.
Yeah.
I might have to look on. What do you got, Jordan? What's that up? Come on. Did it really?
Yep.
Holy smokes. I'll be darned.
Right side.
Wow. This dude. Yeah, there he is. There we go. What the heck? Chinook. Chinook. Oh, it's dropping krill. Let's see, blackmouth. Blackmouth.
Yeah.
Chinookie. Going over. Spitting out krill everywhere.
You know what it is?
Yep.
I was like, there's no way he's spitting eggs out.
No. Spitting out krill everywhere. Well, that was a Chinook. Down at 90 feet. Got bowled up in our rear downrigger. Look at all the feed coming out of this thing. All the krill it's eating. See that? That's all mashed up krill. Holy smokes. So we had a double, broke one off on the hook. Go figure. Whew, get warm out here, but they're still biting. We are, let's check here. We are about a half an hour from low slack. So it is like a pond out here. We got hardly any water moving. And they're still biting. We just had that double. That was crazy. All right, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about today's rigging and the gear we're using. So come out here for these resident coho. They're about a 2 to 4 pound fish. Now, a lot of guys will fish for them just like fishing for any other salmon. Use your 9.5 to 10.5 foot, you know, mooching rod, downrigger rod. A lot of guys will mooch herring for them. That is an option that works pretty well. More so, the majority is out here trolling, okay? And early morning, of which you want to get an early morning start. We didn't quite do that, this being the 5th of July. Late night, I think we got on the water about 6:30 or 7. The bite really starts happening on some days at first light. So that would have been about a 4:30 start time this morning, which is probably what we should have done. That being said, we're fishing an outgoing tide all morning. We have low slack at 11:30, and we got big tides right now. We got about 11 foot of water change through your high to low. Low slack, we're just gonna come to the top side of the low slack now. We'll start getting water moving. We're gonna fish through that tide change and see if the beginning of the incoming, that first hour and a half, might start getting them back on the bite. We haven't hit a fish for a better part of an hour or so. Anyway, getting back to rigging. So majority guys fish them like salmon. We've done that in the past. It works. Dragging around 11, you know, your 11-inch flasher of various brands that you can roll out here. Hoochies, spoons, herring, you name it. It all works. We thought we'd come out today and utilize our Kokanee rods just for the sport of it. You know, Kokanee rods are designed as downrigger rods, so that's not an issue. We're fishing an 8-foot rod with a 2 to 10 rating. And we've downsized our gear somewhat. You know, we're using these 8-inch Dodgers by Silver Horde, and today what's been getting it done is the white with the glow strip on it. Okay, the white and glow has been working, running about 36-inch leader to these small 2.5 pink and scale spoons by Silver Horde, and we put on a little the little 2-inch pink and UV hoochie on the bottom of that thing. This is basically on both sides of the boat. We doubled up on that presentation, running something completely different out the back. This has been getting it done for us pretty much all day, both sides working equally. Scents that we're putting on, we're utilizing our Pautzke's fire gel. Jordan always has success with tuna, so he must always put that on, and yes indeed, it actually worked on these spoons. And we're putting scent on the Dodger, and of course herring. We've swapped out this back rod, like I said, a number of times. We've ran bait, we've ran different size spoons. Right now we have a hearing aid on there, a 3 or 3.5, a little bigger presentation. We have been successful in hooking up on these coho at 50, 60, 80, and 90 as far as depth. We actually hit a double at 90 feet. Just by chance, one of them, the one the beard was fighting, the hook broke, so that one came off, and then the other fish we landed was a Chinook. So Chinook will also hit these small spoons. The thought process going into it is, you know, white Dodgers predominantly work well. They especially work well on seasons where we have pink salmon or humpies going through the sound, so keep that in mind. But they also work on coho. And these small pink spoons with this squid on here to me resemble a small group of the krill shrimp, which they are feeding feverishly here on the krill. That king that we ended up on the deck with until we realized, well, it's the right size, right color, wrong spots, black mouth, threw it back, it took off just fine. But it puked krill out all over the boat deck here. So been a fairly productive morning. We're not into high numbers. We've hooked 6 or 7 fish, which isn't bad. We're playing around with them on Kokanee gear, which is a kick in the pants. Troll speed is key. Coho typically like it a little faster. That being said, we're using Dodgers, and if we're trolling too fast, you're going to roll your Dodger over and start it spinning. So a couple things you can do: put it down in the water as you're gauging your troll speed to see how your gear is working or if it's actually spinning. And if your current speeds are too strong and you're having to go too fast or against current, you may have to switch to a flasher. That's going to roll like it's supposed to do. Okay, we don't want these Dodgers spinning. We want them actually dodging back and forth. So check your gear at the side of the boat when you've gauged your troll speed. Now, my electronics are pretty good. I can gauge troll speed, but it's not telling me speed over ground. So I have to be aware of my tide, and like I said, we have a lot of water moving. So I'm either fishing with current or against current, and that's going to change the action on my gear. I'm going to have to troll faster with current to ensure that my gear is working. I'm going to troll a little slower going against current to make sure I'm not spinning my gear. The one thing I rely on is I look at my downrigger cables, and optimally I always try to fish them at a 45 degree. When I'm at 45 degrees on my cables, a high percentage of the time, as a rough field guesstimate or a gauge that I rely on, I know that my gear is working. Okay, so that's one thing I do. 9 times out of 10 it's working for me. Trust me, there's guys out here catching more fish than us, and there's people out here struggling much harder than us. This is a great family opportunity to come out here on beautiful days like this. This is the Area 10 resident Coho Fishery. It opened June 1st. The retention is 2. Marked or unmarked, doesn't matter. And it extends into August, I believe. So, That's basically the rigging for the day. We're going at them with this Kokanee rods and these smaller dodgers, small spoons. We have caught a number of shakers. I will tell you that. You scale down the size of your presentation, you're going to get some of those shakers on. So some things you need to make sure you do. Check your gear every 10 to 15 minutes. You're going to probably clear a shaker off, 1 or 2 of the spoons. You're also going to clear off the jellyfish, because they do pile onto your gear, and if you got jellyfish dragging around on here, you're not catching coho. So hopefully that gives you a little insight as to what we're doing out here today. Kind of screwing around, but having a good time. Waiting for the Chinook opener in about a week or so. Going to be fishing the same area, plus Area 9 opens on July 16th. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Well, there you go, Tommy. Resident coho on Kokanee rods, small dodger, scaled down to that size 8 or that 8-inch dodger that we're talking about at the beginning of the show. And you know, as we roll this out here this weekend, I'm going to deploy these 8-inch flashers that I picked up. Also rig them to release. Getting a lot of questions on rigging these flashers for quick release. I showed how to do this last year. It literally cost you about 8 cents per dodger or flasher, and had a lot of inquiries about it. We did it in the bait lab last year. That video blew up, kind of went viral to a point because people were like, how do you make that? Because you're going to pay anywhere from $6, $7, upwards of $15, depending if you get a quick release or a magnet release or whatever the other actual models are that are out there on the market, right? So you can convert any flasher, and I've converted any manufactured flasher, 11-inch flasher, and now even down with these Troll 8-inch flashers, same concept, same equipment. No, that line on top of there doesn't get in the way of anything, doesn't twist up, doesn't hamper the action on your flasher. It allows it to roll freely. A fish hits that, pops that bottom end off to where your flasher is literally just hanging there, right? And then your direct connect point, main line, goes to leader. Yep, there you go. This thing just sits here and spins around, right? Drags in the water free. Now, this fish on those Kokanee rods for those small resident coho, they'll be able to pop this out. One thing you can do in this little tube that I put in here, and all we're doing is cramming this size 3 swivel in there. If it's a little sticky, just take a little bit of your fire gel scent. Yeah. You just rub a little oil on there, you know, and put a little oil on there, and that slides out real nice. You don't have premature releases on it because it takes something pulling on the other end to pull it out of there. So even if it's a loose connection, by dragging this through the water at the top end, it doesn't force that to prematurely release. If you reel it in and it's released, it's because something hit it. Yep. Smolt grabbed it, or a shaker that didn't stick, or something, right? So you missed a fish. That is a game changer, even on the small size. Especially, we're going to go after these 2 to 4 pound fish again on Sunday. Throw the crab pots out probably. And I've got a modification for you for that. Oh, you do? Yeah, because that's the engineer brain. Because when you catch that 20-pound king here in a couple weeks, on you want Kokanee rod? Yeah, sure, you could. Or are you talking about regular size flasher? Either one, doesn't matter. Okay. That you can make it so that the flasher can slide all the way up to the line, right? So that you get that king up next to the boat. He takes off again, and that flasher just sits there. Instead of doesn't roll with it. Doesn't roll with it. Make this a slider? Yep. I got you. I could. Yeah. We could do that. We're going to do a breakaway 2.0. Oh, I like it. Yeah. That'll be the full kit. You can buy the original series, or you can step it up for $1.50 and get the 2.0. There you go. There you go. 2.0. We're going to make millions. We're going to sell these for $1.73 a piece. We're going to make millions. Get ready to retire, my friend. Right. It's happening now. I'm not going to hold my breath. If we get enough interest once again, and you guys want to know how to convert your flashers, because again, it is extremely easy. The benefit for the little extra effort you put in, our buddy Herzog used to always say, 98% of your fish are caught in your garage, right? This is taking manufactured gear, modifying it to your benefit. You're having a direct connection to that fish with barbless hooks, nothing in the way to counter your tension ability that's going to let those hooks float freely for any given amount of time and work their way out. And when you land 10 out of 10, I would say proof's in the pudding. This stuff works. And I'm trying to remember if we lost a couple fish last year, I was surprised. I know, David, when we fished the Coho Derby, we didn't lose a single fish. We were dragging these.
You've never lost a fish.
No, I've lost.
You're Dwayne England.
No, I've lost a lot of fish. But since I've converted my flashers in my troll fisheries, I'm telling you, high hook to land ratio. Yep. David would vouch for that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So,
well, if David vouches for it, then it's probably true.
Well, and then again, people say anything for a price. Yeah. Everybody has their price, right? So we can review that next week. I can pop that video back out there to regurgitate it so folks can get on that. And again, simple few components that you purchase at the Home Depot, and you're good to go. And it's extremely economical. I think I figured it out for the $20 or so I invested for the amount of stuff I got. I could probably convert upwards of 150 flashers, which I'm close to doing because I have about 147 of them, I think, at this point. So, all right, with that, we're going to jump out for a quick break. If you have any questions on the resident coho fishery, not that I'm an expert by any means, finding some success up there, going to go do it again. There's guys out there that are having phenomenal days. There's days we're out there like every other salmon fishery, we're struggling. But it is a fun fishery, and I think I mentioned it in the video. Great opportunity to get the kids out and the spouses and whatnot. Totally. Spend a day on the water, beautiful weather, and catch those 2 to 4 pound fish, introducing folks to salmon fishing on a smaller scale. Really a lot of fun. And they eat fantastic. There's stuff in their pie holes with krill. Oh, yeah. That meat is as red as sockeye. It is unbelievable. So, fantastic on the Traeger. All right. Jumping out for a quick break. We come back. We're going to get our buddy Brad Wagner, not a stranger to the show by any means. Brad Wagner, Bobber Down Guide Service, fishwenatchee.com. We'll get him on the phone. We're going to talk about the opportunity on your Columbia River, Upper Columbia River, East Side Sockeye opportunity, Chinook opportunity, and boy, looks very promising for a Lake Wenatchee Sockeye fishery as well. And by the way, when you get to that east side, those Lake Wenatchee sockeye are the biggest sockeye you're going to find over there. They're dandy. So, okay, quick commercial break. Stick with us through the break. We'll be right back here on FHN.
Allied boats are built by West Coast fishermen for West Coast fishermen. Deep V 21-degree dead rise at the transom guarantees a smooth ride no matter the conditions. Allied offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Allied boats range from 19 to 32 foot in length, so no matter what type of heavy gauge boat you are looking for, we have it for you. All of our Corsair 21-foot and larger designs come standard with reverse chine that is welded inside and out with no extrusions below the waterline, so that you will never have to worry about corrosion problems down the road. Get out on the water today in a boat that you can trust and enjoy with Allied Boats. Contact us at Allied Boats today to learn much more about our incredible fishing machines.
Oh, hold on a second. All right, you there?
Yes, sir.
I lost my Bluetooth connection, so we're just going to do this on the old speaker. Everybody hear us okay? Yeah, you're supposed to say something, Brad.
I can hear you.
All right, we're back from commercial break. We are here in studio, Dwayne and Tommy Donlin, closing out the show. Final segment here. Bobber Down Guide Service, Brad Wagner, Sockeye Slayer. How you doing, buddy?
I'm I'm really good, man. I'm really good.
Yeah.
It's been great fishing. It's just been an absolute blast over here.
How many trips you run today?
I did 3 today.
Oh.
It's been that kind of fishing. There's talk of them raising the limit, and when that happens, it'll be a little slower to limit out, but it'll also be nice. The limit we got over. Geez, last time I looked, I think it was like 306,000 sockeye over Bonneville, and it'd be nice to get that limit up to at least 4 fish.
Wow! Right
Awesome.
now you're at 2.
Yeah, we're at 2.
Yeah. So if my calculations are correct, and my engineer brother here, Tommy, will check me on this, but it possibly could take you twice as long to limit.
Well, we'll have to get a whiteboard and do
There we go.
equations.
Yeah.
I think it'd be close.
I'm not very good at that. I was told there'd be no math. Yeah. Cool, man. So 3 trips today. What time did you start, and how fast did you get off the water on your first trip?
First trips, it's been good. I mean, it was. I've been meeting guys at 7 because you really don't need to be there that early, quite honestly. And so, why get up early? I kind of let the guys before work go hit the hole and show up when they were leaving. And we were probably, I think we had 8 fish in a couple hours. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was a good bite this morning. We've been battling the flows. That's what's been really tough. Is huge flows. So like I went up to Wells Dam to even see, and it's not even fishable. I went up there last night, and you can't even. I mean, it's not even close to fishable. I mean, it's to come way down.
Now you're talking when you look above Wells Dam, it's not fishable, or below Wells Dam.
Above Wells Dam isn't open. That's not
right.
16th.
Okay.
But no, below Wells Dam, and it's just. I mean, it's just straight up unfishable.
Too much water.
It's just way too much water, way too rough, and you just got so much current that it's just not even there. And so everybody's kind of piled into these other spots, and we are dealing with some really serious heavy flows. So, but today the flows were pretty nice, and the fish cooperated. So
I'm wondering where they're holding back the water. Is it at Bonneville? Because we talked to Chris Vertopoulos earlier in the show. Chris V's guide service on the lower stretch of the Columbia, Multnomah Channel, Willamette area. He's fishing those summer Chinook. They've extended that lower Chinook opportunity on the Columbia through the 15th, and he says this entire week the water has been dropping. They're scaling back on the flow. So it's interesting. They're dumping water up top and really flushing a lot of water, and you get down the lower system and they're holding it back.
I wonder where they're holding it back somewhere, obviously, but I don't know. It's not here. They're just running it through.
Yeah.
It's not. The levels aren't really high or low. They're just pushing water through.
So let's talk about those stretches then you are fishing and what your approach is. I mean, if you got a river that's running pretty fast and you're going after sockeye, what's the game change and what's your approach been as of late to try and target them?
We're just looking for a little slower, I can't even say it, slower side seams. And so just, where you got a nice little seam right on the side and just, just targeting them right there in them slower seams and above and below the dams. Above and below the dams is the easiest place to just to find them. They're gonna stage there. Above Rocky Reach is fairly easy to fish, nice and calm. So it's there's a lot of opportunity there. And so and below the dam is fishing pretty good also. It's just like I say, it's running pretty hard. It's tough to fish some days.
I'm just wondering if he can hear me from over here.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
So what's the talk to us a little bit about the terminal end of the equation. What do you got on the business end?
You can barely hear you.
Okay.
That's the unfortunate part.
We
lost our Bluetooth, so I have to. Yeah. I'm holding my phone to the microphone.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah. So Tommy gets to sit here, and I get to have a conversation with my buddy Brad.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. So let's talk about that approach, Brad. The stretches you're fishing. Let's talk water depth and kind of your terminal tackle. Rod reel for folks that haven't fished it. Maybe they're waiting for Brewster to open and for that opportunity up there, which is a nice, pretty comfortable troll fishery. A lot of people can get up there and actually find success, it seems. for the most part, pretty easy, even on your first time out. But what you guys are doing right now and how you're finding them, a little bit of history in that area and a little bit of knowledge on how to fish those particular stretches this time of year as those fish are moving through. So let's talk about rod and reel size, line weight, and kind of your approach. Dodger, no dodger, length of leader. Let's just kind of break it down.
It's pretty much standard sockeye setups. I'm just running pretty much, I'm running a Velocity 9.6 rod. It's a medium action rod, just nice and limber. I'm running about 4 ounces of lead, so it's just a perfect rod for having those light lead. And then just down to I run a 35-pound braided line to a 4-ounce weight. I'm not running downriggers at all. And just running a 4-ounce weight to a slider. Then I run a one foot buffer to just a swivel with a Dodger. I'm running an aught Dodgers, 0-aught Dodgers, and 14-inch leader with maybe a little smile blade, but not pretty simple stuff. Sometimes not even a smile blade. Sometimes just hook and trim.
Yeah. Any particular shrimp? Sand shrimp, coon shrimp?
Coon shrimp, oh yeah, I'm running coon shrimp. I'm running, the famous Dwayne England coon shrimp, brine, and when it works that good, why mess with it?
You stole my recipe?
So, I give you credit for it. Call Dwayne, give him a quarter, pay him for pay him for the shrimp.
If I had a quarter every time a guy told me that, right now I'd have a quarter. So, hey, I got a question on here from a guy asking, is there good bank access up there for sockeye? Is that even possible? The guys fish from the bank?
No. There's actually great bank access, and they're doing good. It's not just you can fish it, but you're not going to catch anything kind of scenario.
Right.
They're doing really good off the bank, right above Rocky Reach. Some different spots. A lot of guys are just finding a point because right now we got about, last time I looked, I think there was about 50,000 fish over Rock Island. Rock Island Dam. Okay. So we still have roughly 250 to 300,000 fish that are still going to come up. And so there's a lot of opportunity just to get those 5,000 fish a day that are going by the points. The sockeye run shallow. They run close to the bank.
Close to shore,
they're actually fairly easy to target from the shore.
Yeah.
With most guys are running a simple bobber setup, running it pretty shallow, 6 to 8 feet with a coon shrimp down below.
Yeah, just hanging a coon shrimp under a float and drifting on through, just like summer steelhead fishing.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And they're actually doing well. There's a lot of guys limiting out fairly regularly right from the shore.
Nice. So right now we got a limit of 2. Boy, they bumped that to 4. That's a pretty good day to go step in there, bank fish, drown a few coon shrimp under a float, and get some nice sockeye.
Yeah, and hang out in the sunshine. It's a good place to do it anyway.
Hey, we have sun on the west side too, Brad. Just as a reminder.
I have yet to see that.
Has it rained today?
Has it rained today? Yeah. When do we move up to Brewster?
I don't know. The water's still 64, 65 degrees last time I looked today.
Okay.
And so it's creeping up there. I'm gonna say a week, and I think Brewster will really start fishing good. It's been a cool summer, and looking at the 10-day, there's not a lot of, we need like a week in the 90s, and everything's like 80s. So it's just taking forever for it to heat up. But once it gets up, and you can look online at the USGS site, and when that thing gets up to 70 degrees, it's go time, and you need to be over there. And by then, we should have a 4-fish limit. I'm expecting a really good Brewster fishery for the latter part of July and early August. I think it's going to fish really good for kings and sockeye both.
Well, there should be a pile of fish getting in there and holding up, provided the Okanagan holds temperature. So we're looking for a 70-degree mark on the Brewster pool. What do we not want the Okanagan to exceed that allows them fish to take off and just run up the river and drain the pool?
We don't want it under 70.
Under 70.
If it's under 70. What holds them in the pool is that water temp being over 70. So when that water temp's over 70, there's not enough oxygen. They're not into it. They'll just mill around, and they'll nose up into the channel, but they won't really go up very far, and then they'll just come right back down.
Yeah.
But once you get that, it sets up. You get the vapor or the thermal barrier set up, and then everything's fishing good, but once it crashes and it does go below 70, all those fish staged up there, they will be gone.
Yeah.
And they'll go over quick.
We got a few new folks. We got a few folks tuning in, chiming in here with comments, inquiring exactly where we are talking about. We're talking with Brad Wagner, Bobber Down Guide Service. You can find him at fishwenatchee.com. We're talking about the annual sockeye opportunity on the Upper Columbia stretches between the dams. More so focused on Brewster Pool and below, and some access points for bank and boat fishing. So just to bring everybody up to speed. Brad, you had mentioned the Chinook Fishery. I know a handful of you guys and Sammy and whatnot are over there finding some decent Chinook already. What's kind of the program if folks want to come over there, get your sockeye, get your Chinook? What do we got to do to change it up and locate some of those Chinook?
We're pretty much switching spots entirely, as the sockeye and the Chinook aren't really hanging out in the same spots right now. So most of the Chinook fishing's going on at Chelan Falls, right there at BB Bridge, in the mouth of the Indiana right now.
Gotcha.
And once the flows drop a little bit, we'll be able to fish Wells Dam a little more. Then we'll get above the dam on the 16th of July, open up, and that'll be about the same time Brewster should start getting fishy too. So everybody's kind of crammed into a couple of spots right now, but it is going to get better for that as Brewster pops, and then as the flows drop and we can fish wells, and it'll spread everybody out a little bit. But it's fishing really good. They're getting kings every day. Pretty simple setups. Most people are running just a Pro Troll flasher, or I run the short bus flashers, but just a regular rotary flasher and a super bait for the most part. Some spinners too. Spinners are starting to fish pretty good the last couple of days.
Yeah. Any openings coming up? You seem pretty booked or pretty busy with 2 and 3 trips today.
I'm pretty busy. I got some openings in mid to late August, and I got some openings for second trips, for sockeye trips. In the afternoon trips here for the end of the month. I got some openings for that too.
Okay.
So.
I almost forgot, before you get out of here, let's touch on that Lake Wenatchee opportunity. Sounds like we're going to have a mess of fish. Lake Wenatchee should fish good. It's a non-bait fishery, artificial lure only, doesn't matter. Don't even need scent. Those buggers will crush a number of different small presentations over there on the troll with downriggers. Or you can run lead. Some of you guys, don't you run lead in that fishery too at times?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I'll run lead. You got to run a little more lead. It's a
little deeper fishery.
Yeah, it's 6 ounce, even a little more sometimes. Sometimes those fish are 60, 70 feet down.
Yeah.
Lake Wenatchee, I do like running downriggers on. I think it's nice to be able to pinpoint those fish. They will sit right at a thermocline and be at 41 feet. They might not be at 37, they might not be at 43, but they will be at 41.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it is nice to be able to pinpoint those fish with downriggers in particular. But it's just a red hook fishery. I run 2 one-on red Gamakatsu hooks. I mean, I got like $3 in tackle for the whole season right there.
It's like your flasher rig.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a knockoff. They're shrimp eaters, right? So going after those little tiny, or they're krill eaters, so going after those little tiny hooks makes sense. That being said, great opportunity coming there. Who knows? They may even expand the limits if they get plenty of fish into that Lake Wenatchee as well, with the amount of sockeye that seem to be coming back.
Yeah. That's what we're hoping for. The only thing that's scary about the Lake Wenatchee sockeye is they are a little bigger. They're a little bigger sockeye, so they do get caught up in the nets a little higher weight.
Gotcha.
And they're netting the crap out of it. So it's so that's an issue, and we'll just have to wait and see how the numbers play out.
Yeah. All right. Well, if folks want to track you down, they can look you up on Facebook, Bobber Down Guide Service, or look up Brad Wagner, and/or go to fishwenatchee.com and figure out everything you got going on. Give you a phone call and or message you on Messenger. Try to book a trip, get in on some of this sockeye and/or Chinook opportunity. And to remind everybody, Brad, there is no Chinook Derby up there in the Brewster Pool this year. The Chinook Derby has been canceled. Is that correct?
Yep, that is true. They held off on the decision, and they did decide that's what they thought was going to be the safest for everybody, and it was a COVID reason.
Yeah.
And so so hopefully we'll see it next year.
Yeah.
So.
All right, buddy. Well, appreciate you taking the time. Solid information as always, and we'll keep in touch. You never know. I might pop the boat over there to the east side, or I may just stay here on the west side in Puget Sound and catch shiny fish. You never know.
It's a pretty good time over here. You know?
I know it is. Love it over there.
I want to think about heading east, buddy.
All right, bud. All right, have a good night. We'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right, see you guys.
Okay, Tommy, you are authorized now to rejoin.
Oh, okay.
Conversation.
Oh, thank you.
If you would.
Appreciate it.
How you been over there?
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good. Thinking about
good.
CQ.
I can see that. I see little S's in your eyes. Right
Yeah,
now,
that's right.
Spinning, right.
Yep.
CQ on the brain. So, hey, you were talking with your buddy Mike Surdick at the break. He seemed pretty excited.
They killed him. They limited out on Chinook today.
Yeah.
Just off Tatoosh. So the fish are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's starting off a pretty exciting Chinook season.
It is. It's been really good.
Last year was exciting, you know, with the decisions made north of us and the extra 20% of fish between Canada and Alaska that come down. We saw the benefits of that on the early Chinook fisheries in Puget Sound, northern Puget Sound, and I think we're reaping the benefits of that once again. Those numbers are in that agreement for 10 years, right? So once they align themselves on those factual, those numbers, they rely on that for a 10-year time frame, is what I've been led to believe, unless they have a reason to open it back up and have negotiations. But for right now, it seems to be benefiting us to a
tremendously,
tremendous level, right? 20% may not sound like much, but at the end of the day,
that's a lot.
Collectively, it tends to be a lot of fish. So I hope you're wrong on the fact that we're going to stampede through our quotas too quick. You know, I want to see a couple weeks up there at least. Yeah. Hopefully, and if not, we'll just have to fish for coho and
or tuna. Really, you know,
we have tuna. So.
What else? Whatever will we do? I don't know. Maybe go offshore. Yeah.
Maybe have to go out to Westport. Westport is fishing very well, by the way.
Yeah.
Our buddy Ben Overmars had some folks out yesterday. Actually had Jason Humble and girlfriend and whatnot out yesterday. 2 days ago, I believe. They crushed it. 14 fish to the boat, Jason said. Short order. Nice size.
It's turning on there too.
Yep. And coho. The Coleman clan, as always, they're putting a bunch of shiny fish and brown fish on the deck. It's happening. Saw a boatload deck polluted on the slammer, just freaking bottom fish and lingcod everywhere. So it's going on, man.
It's time to go fishing.
A lot of opportunity out there. Join us each and every week right here Thursday night, 6 to 8 p.m. Lots of new folks turning it on tonight. Appreciate that. Give us some comments. Let us know what you think about the content. We try to cover relevant information, newsworthy and beyond, lots of how-tos. We're going to keep you dialed in on the current fisheries as we get out as often as we can, fish them week in and week out, and bring you, again, relevant information. Great job on the bait lab tonight with your spoon fishery. And next week, hey, we may have to roll out one from the vault. I don't really feel the need to repeat myself on how to build these flashers. So.
You sure?
Maybe, you know, maybe we'll do it live again. Maybe some updates on the smaller versions. I'll have to think about it. I'll take a look at our video from last year. But people kind of, they like that type of information.
Yeah, absolutely.
You tell me I got too much time on your hands making this, you know, bending Dodgers. That was great. Yeah. Like, no, I don't have too much time on my hands. I'm trying to impress my engineer buddy.
That's right.
Anyway.
Yes.
All right, fantastic evening. Thanks for making it in studio this week.
That's right.
We are here next week.
It's good to be back. Yep.
We are here next Thursday, 6 p.m. Check us out during the week. Go to our Facebook page. Check out all the relevant information. Tommy's going to be posting up a ton of pictures and how-tos as he and Jerry and the boys dissect this Sekiu fishery on out to the ocean there, getting outwards to Nia Bay. We're going to be bouncing back and forth between Area 9 and 10. The opener is next Thursday, the 16th. I will be there first thing in the morning, getting on the water at daybreak, get our Chinook, and get back down here to do a live show at 6 p.m. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the goal. Just short of some disaster happening. I do not see that not happening. So
better knock on wood.
Okay.
There you go.
We're going to be there. We're going to get on that opening day. We're going to be back here to do a show live next Thursday night. So post your pics of your success or failures throughout the week on our Facebook page. Interact. Ask us questions. If you want to order some of our swag, still don't have our store up and going, been far too busy, but we do have some items still left in the storage container. So if you want t-shirts, hats, hoodies.
What about this hat? You got this hat?
I got one right there.
There we go. Is there's one left in stock.
That may be for sale.
One left in stock. Okay.
Highest bidders bidding starting at $45. Just kidding. Anyway, check us out on Facebook throughout the week. Go to our YouTube channel, please. Hit subscribe. Help us continue to build our YouTube channel. It is starting to take off. Really appreciate you there. And we will break out the how-tos that you did tonight and our Coho Fishery, if you missed it. That'll be posted up here over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, so you can revisit those videos as well as standalones. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Great show. And we'll be back next Thursday with a whole new week of fishing under our belt and new reports, new how-tos, and a ton of information coming at you. Have a good night. We'll see you next Thursday.